All right, so today we'll be continuing our way too early conference power ranking list. Today we're taking a look at the ACC. You're adding three members here: Cal, Stanford, SMU, and really the ACC actually, when I was breaking it down, actually has I think like 7 teams in my way too early top 25. I'll put a link to that down below for the end of the video. But really, the ACC should be a pretty competitive league this year. I think you've got some legitimate playoff contenders. You know, you could sneak 2 teams in there, maybe 3, even if all falls right. But let's go ahead and get into the list, shall we? Number 17, you've got Virginia. All right, Tony Elliott probably on his way out of Virginia. I don't really see things getting better there. Yeah, it's not very pretty there at Virginia, and I really don't see that changing until they make a coaching change, probably. Number 16, Stanford. All right, coming over from the Pac-12, and Stanford just isn't the same team they used to be. You know, they went on that nice little stretch there at the end of Harbaugh with David Shaw, McCaffrey, Andrew Luck, and it's just not the same team as it was. Stanford's hurting this year, finished towards the very bottom of the Pac-12, and just really a pretty bad year. Stanford, I don't see it really getting any better, especially with how NIL and the transfer portal has kind of changed college football. I don't really see it changing anytime soon. Number 15, Wake Forest. All right, kind of a crappy year last year. Obviously lost Sam Hartman to Notre Dame last season. And, you know, Clawson has done a pretty good job at Wake Forest, but last year was pretty bad. Finished towards the bottom, if not the bottom of, I think they finished at the bottom of the ACC, actually. Them and Virginia are at the bottom. So there is some room for growth because, like I said, their coach is very good, in my opinion. But you add Stanford, Cal, SMU, it's only going to get a little tougher in the ACC. Number 14, speaking of Cal, all right, they're at number 14. Them and Stanford towards the bottom of the Pac-12, and that's probably going to be pretty similar. I think Cal has a better chance to make an impact in year one than Stanford does. Justin Wilcox, their coach, has done a solid job. You'll see his name pop up all the time in Power 5 coaching searches. But again, I think they have a much better chance than Stanford to kind of make an impact in year one in the ACC, but still, I don't think it'll be much of an impact, if minimal. 13, Duke. All right, they've got a head coaching change. Mike Elko head to Texas A&M, obviously, and they lose a ton of production next year. Wouldn't be surprised if they're at number 15, really, if Wake Forest and Cal are better than them. You've got Maalik Murphy coming in at quarterback from Texas. He was a Texas backup, started a couple games when Ewers was out. You lose Riley Leonard, you lose Jordan Waters, so your backfield's gone. You've got head coach Manny Diaz coming in. He's got history in the conference from when he was in Miami, but he really wasn't very good at Miami. Kind of a questionable hire, in my opinion. But Duke should probably be towards the bottom of the ACC next year. All right, North Carolina, Mack Brown. They're always pretty competitive in North Carolina, but you do lose Drake Maye. And we saw how competitive they were with Drake Maye, which wasn't much. So you lose a top 5 pick, a top 2 pick probably to the NFL draft, and you know, you saw how you did with him. So what are you going to do without him? Probably not going to be very much. North Carolina probably be towards the bottom of the ACC this year. All right, moving into number 11, Pitt. All right, Patt Narduzzi, pretty solid coach, and kind of always has them competitive. And I think they should be improved from last year because I believe in him as a coach. Like I said, this was probably one of his worst years last season that he's had at Pitt, and should get enough guys in the transfer portal to where Pitt can actually be competitive this year. Number 10, Boston College. All right, they actually returned quite a bit of production, in particular quarterback Castellanos. And you bring in Bill O'Brien. Obviously, you lost your head coach to the NFL. Bill O'Brien, really good head coach in my opinion. Questionable as offense coordinator, but really good head coach. Has been a head coach at a Power 5 level before at Penn State. You know, kind of had 8, 9-ish wins, I think. Boston College should be improved. Like I said, you've got enough guys coming back. You've got a change at the coaching staff that I think is an improvement. And Boston College, I think, will break maybe 6 wins. You know, it's not going to be much, but I think they'll be competitive in year one under Bill O'Brien. Maybe upset a team or two. Number 9, Virginia Tech. All right, so now we're getting into pretty much here on up, I would say, is a top 40-ish team. I think Virginia Tech has a chance to crack the top 25 if all falls right by the end of the year. They return a bunch, had a really kind of a slept-on year, actually pretty successful. And with the amount of returning production they have, could instantly shoot up this board and be a top 25 team by the end of the year. Like I said, I think I had them in my top 30-ish preseason. Every team here and up is in my top 30. So Virginia Tech, pretty good. Expect a pretty good year. Number 8, Georgia Tech. All right, similar situation. All right, you return quarterback Haynes King. Coach did a pretty good job in year one. I have them in my top 30 as well. Both of these teams kind of, on that edge of getting into the top 25 and really should be good teams this year. And both teams, Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, should, have a chance to make the top 25, like I said. And if somehow everything breaks right, somehow sneak into that last playoff spot, but we'll see on that. All right, number 7, SMU, coming over from the American Conference. SMU has added a lot of talent. All right. They're probably only going to get better and better every year, being a so-called Power 5 school now, Power 4, whatever the heck you want to call it. I know it's really Power 2. But SMU has a lot of talent coming in from the transfer portal. Got some solid talent coming back as well, in particular at the quarterback position. And I think SMU is a team on the rise. All right. I've got them at number 25 currently in my preseason top 25. I realize they kind of got embarrassed in the bowl game, but they're going to be good this year. And I really wouldn't want to play them. Like I said, they've got talent all over the field. They're adding in always Big 12 transfers that kind of faded out at Oklahoma, at Texas. And they're adding those guys in that were former 4-stars, former 5-stars from, TCU, Baylor, places like that. I think SMU is going to be legit. Number 6, Syracuse. All right. So a surprising top 25 team, but you look at their schedule. I'm going to be honest with you. Syracuse could somehow sneak in the college football playoff. Look at their schedule and tell me I'm wrong. Obviously, Fran Brown, questionable first-year head coach. We'll see how he does as a head coach, but it's proven that he can bring in talent, and that's half the battle in college football is getting talent on your team. After that, we'll figure it out coaching-wise. But if we can get talent in the room, on the field, we've got a shot. Obviously, you bring in Kyle McCord, starting quarterback from Syracuse. You bring in a couple of Georgia transfers. He's got 4-star weapons out at the receiver. I think Syracuse is going to make some noise this year. Now, I'm questionable on how good of a head coach will Fran Brown be. We'll see. But like I said, we know he can get talent in the transfer portal. And if you can get that, you're doing something right. Name the last time you would have thought we would have said Ohio State's starting quarterback transferred to Syracuse. Never. All right. So Syracuse is in the right direction. Number 5. All right. So here on up, all top 20 teams in my way too early preseason top 25. Clemson, Dabo Swinney, really good head coach. Now, they've lost a lot of talent as far as to the transfer portal. We know that's an issue now with Dabo. Starting safety, for example, transfer to Texas. You're losing starting caliber guys, but Clemson still should be pretty good next year. You've got your quarterback coming back, and Dabo's always going to win ball games. So should have a shot at somehow making the playoff, but we'll see. Number 4, Florida State. All right. Mike Norvell, good job this year. Just missed out on the playoff, but they add a lot of production here. All right, you've got a 5-star coming in from Georgia. You've got DJU coming back to the ACC, former Clemson quarterback, former Oregon State quarterback. So that's a solid pickup there. They've added some nice pieces in the transfer portal. Florida State should be good. I think they're in my top 15, and they should challenge for the ACC crown this year. All right, next up we have number 3, Miami. All right. Now, I question Mario Cristobal as a head coach, I'll be honest, but he can get talent there, that's for sure. So you've got the talent to beat anybody in this conference. Now, will it happen? Probably not. But you've got Cam Ward coming in at quarterback. You've got the prize there coming over from Washington State. So you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the conference, and Miami's going to be fun to watch. Now, will they win the conference? We'll see. Like I said, they've definitely got the talent too, but Cristobal has made some questionable decisions in game as a head coach before, so don't bank on them, but if all falls right, they could make the playoff. All right, number 2, Louisville. All right, Louisville obviously loses some serious production from last year. Their quarterback, they lose Jahwar Jordan, who was kind of a Heisman candidate at running back. Should be really good, though. Look at their transfer portal class, top 10 class at the moment. I think it's number 6. You add in Barron, defensive end from Tennessee. You add a new quarterback, Tyler Shuck from Texas Tech. Their season kind of free fell after Shuck got hurt. You bring over Peny Boone, running back from Toledo. You bring in a couple 4-star receivers in the transfer portal. We know Jeff Brom's a good head coach. Louisville is more talented than they were last year. I know they kind of were high last year as far as being ranked, but they weren't really worthy of that ranking. Probably this year, I think they're going to be worthy of that. I think I have them at number 10 in my preseason top 25. Louisville is going to be a really good team next year. Now, will they beat Notre Dame? We'll see. But if they do beat Notre Dame, Louisville will be in the playoff. All right, and number 1, NC State. All right. We know Dave Doeren, at least in my opinion, is a really good head coach, probably the most underrated college football coach in the nation is at NC State, Dave Doeren. They have a lot of talent coming in from the transfer portal, in particular, Grayson McCall, Coastal Carolina quarterback. You think back to a couple of years ago, Coastal Carolina versus BYU during 2020. That was their quarterback, Grayson McCall, when they made that undefeated run under current Liberty head coach Jamie Chadwell. I think NC State is set up nicely to make the college football playoff here, be a top 4 seed in the playoff. That once they get to the CFP, who knows? But these are my list at the moment. All right, it's still subject to change. After spring ball, guys are going to transfer out. Guys are going to transfer in. For example, Maalik Murphy last year, guys tried to poach him from Texas after he had a good spring game, so we'll see. But this is my list. Let me know yours down in the comment section. Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. Most importantly, subscribe.